All right, so today we're going to interview Nikoli Jean-Paul Edwards. Good morning, sir. He's the political leader of the Progressive Party.
Correct.
Yes, and 2020 electoral candidate for the San Fernando West Constituency. Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
How are you going this morning?
Well, this morning, fine, but generally very stressed.
Very stressed? And you ain't even reached anything yet, you know? All right, so you, this is your first time contesting at an election level, right?
Yeah.
But you've been previously appointed to the Senate.
Yes, as an independent senator.
Right. So tell me about the experience being in the Senate versus running for the House of Representatives.
Sure. Well, if you know the Senate, you can be appointed to the Senate either by the President or the Prime Minister, the opposition leader. And fortunately enough, President Carmona, he recognized the work that I was doing and he provided me with an opportunity to serve in the Senate. So it was more or less easy breezy. The work that I was doing up to that point led me to get such an opportunity. This time, on the other hand, you have to undergo the whole canvassing, walkabouts. You have to convince people, and in San Fernando West, it's roughly 25,000 electors there.
Right.
So you have to convince 25,000, or at least enough to get you in there. So two different ball games.
Okay. So you decided, well, your party made the decision to only contest one seat.
Yeah.
Why? Why only one seat?
Sure. It really has to do with resources,
Right.
the timeline, and the persons putting themselves forward. We wanted to contest 41 seats, but now that we have undergone or still experiencing this whole electoral process, we can tell you, just in San Fernando West alone, there are about 57 or 60 polling divisions.
Right.
So on election day, I have to get 57 or 60, let's say 60 by 2 for persons to work the morning shift and the afternoon shift as polling agents. That's 120 people I have to get for that constituency alone, followed by drivers and persons in the headquarters.
So is it that each party has to get their own polling agents to be able to monitor the votes?
Yeah, correct. So think about that in terms of 41.
Right.
Yeah? And those persons are your eyes and your ears as a candidate inside the polling station. So they're very crucial to the whole process. So we understand how difficult it is, but it prepares us for future elections, and we can at least say with authority, we understand the process and we can further train persons who want to come in under the fold.
But what kind of impact are you going to have in Parliament with just one seat?
Sure. So we have to remember that as a member of Parliament, your first responsibility is to your constituents.
Of course.
So as MP, I will be responsible for ensuring that on behalf of the constituents of San Fernando West, I'm able to lobby, advocate, activate on behalf of them inside of the Parliament. So let's say I get a list of persons who've applied for social assistance and no movement by the Ministry of Social Development. I can stand in the Parliament and bring this to the attention of the floor. I can ask questions of the Prime Minister, but I can also look within the constituency and figure out how to solve problems at that level.
Well, speaking of that, what are some of the urgent needs of your constituency?
So when we think about employment issues, many persons in San Fernando West are saying that they're not looking for handouts, they're looking for hand-ups rather, opportunities to be engaged in productive work, not just attend days here and there, but let's look at it this way. If at least in each household we can get one person who is a permanent employee, that will have a significant impact, because at least now the family is able to apply for a mortgage, have certain benefits that they don't have at the present moment.
You said a permanent employee?
Yeah, so as you know, in the public service, you have permanent employees and so forth. That goes a long way when you're going for a mortgage, when you're going to take out a loan for a vehicle, or even when you want to start a small business. So we have to think at that level. It's not about the large infrastructural projects, but rather the social development aspect, something that over the past 5 years has been severely lacking in San Fernando West.
Do you think that that has something to do with the general, state of the Treasury, maybe?
I think it has to do with the fact that we have more or less an absentee member of Parliament in Faris Alwari. He lives in West Trinidad. He is the Attorney General, so he does not give enough time to the constituency, and we're just being plain where that is concerned.
Okay, so then what you're saying sounds like if you're a member of parliament as a representative in the House of Representatives, you ought not to be a minister?
You should not. We should have proper separation of powers in Trinidad and Tobago.
So that would require constitutional reform.
It would. And it makes no sense, to be very honest, lobbying for that at this level. It's only when you get in there and you have at least a 3/5 majority or command as well the respect of the opposition on those matters that you can change the constitution. What I have to lobby for at this level are the bread and butter issues for the constituents of San Fernando West.
Okay, so your party places heavy emphasis on youth and youth involvement, right? Because, I mean, you're saying that you're the young party. That's what you've been selling yourself as.
In a sense, we want to be seen as the inclusive party. Traditionally, all of those groupings in society that have been locked out of the politics, we want to say come under our fold. I consider myself the civil society candidate. For far too long, civil society has not had a voice in the lower house. So if I, because of my civil society background for more than a decade, I can go in there and lobby for the civil society issues to be brought up in the parliament. If we go with just PNM and UNC, those issues will not be brought up. And also, I'm the youth candidate. I am unattached in terms of those two major parties, so therefore I can properly represent the voice of young people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How did you get into politics?
It really was as a result of my involvement in civil society, being very outspoken on youth issues and things of this sort, and it being recognized by, in that case, President Carmona. But since then, and even before that, being on the Guild of Students, always being in a representative capacity. So politics is just a graduation of that whole experience.
So what advice would you give to the young people looking on who are, not sure about what to vote for, who to vote for and stuff? What advice do you feel like you can give them when they say things like, my vote don't really matter?
Yeah.
My opinion don't matter.
We have to look, if we look at the 2015 voter turnout, right? About 30% of the population or thereabout did not come out. We look at San Fernando West alone, and you see that 30%. Imagine if that group were to mobilize and say we're putting our support behind a candidate, because it's not about party. Even here, I sit as political leader of the Progressive Party, and I'm saying it's about the candidate and what he or she could bring to the table. So young people, you have a very crucial role to play in this election. This is a mammoth election. A lot is riding on this. And go out and vote. Scrutinize the candidates.
But how do you plan to mobilize them? Like the same young people, they keep feeling as though, there aren't choices for them.
Yeah.
How do you mobilize them? How do you get them to say, well, this is a choice for you? How do you get them to even be interested enough in finding out more about what this person is about, what this person is doing for the community or want to do for the community?
Sure. Well, we have been using social media very effectively throughout this whole process because we are operating a campaign on crumbs. We cannot compete with the finances of PNM or UNC. So we have to find very creative, innovative ways of reaching our audience. And we really want to get at the first level the non-voters or those who are in the middle, because they are more easier to convince in this circumstance. So we are looking at the 18 to 44 age bracket, and we think that thus far the response has been exceptional. We get messages on our social media platform every day saying, we wish you had a candidate here, we wish you had a candidate in our constituency. So I have absolutely no fear that in 2025 the Progressive Party will really be a force to be reckoned with. But in this election, one seat in Parliament can make a huge difference, because you can hold both PNM and UNC accountable. And I can also show the population how to properly manage a constituency. This is me crawling before I walk. People may not look at it that way, but you have to get experience at some level. And going in, representing at least San Fernando West alone will give me the opportunity to get that experience.
Well, you talk a good game, so let me see if you could spin the wheel now. How about that? All right, come across. Let's take a walk across to the wheel. We're getting to know Nikoli Edwards this morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I think a big part of getting to know him is, let me see if he could stand up to the challenges. You say done stressed already, just the walkabout, just the things done stressing already, right? Because I imagine it's more than you planned for and anticipated for, and you're learning along the way.
Yes.
But this morning, we're going to have a little bit of fun with it.
Sure.
So all you have to do, spin the wheel, whichever one it lands on, I'll give you the further instructions. I'll make him a paper and make sure I have all the things here. You go ahead and spin. Spin away. All right, so Nikolai Rel spend that wheel, boy.
Yes. Preparing for the prices, right?
Right, hey. All right. So it has landed on Know Your Place, ladies and gentlemen. Know Your Place is simply us. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about your constituency.
Sure.
In hopes that, you know, as you're going to represent them after you just bad talk Faris, you better know the ins and outs of your constituency. So first question, can you give me the boundaries of your constituency?
Well, there are many boundaries and we recently added two, but in the north we go up to Marabella and where we intersect with Pointe-à-Pied. On the east we intersect with as well Pointe-à-Pied and San Fernando East. When we go further down south we intersect with Oropouche, Oropouche East that is. And those would be really the boundaries that we can look at.
All right. You ever swim in the wharf in San Fernando?
Yes. I was actually in the first Notre Dame Sea Scouts, and that's where it was located. So.
All right. Where's the best place to get roti in South? In San Fernando East, your constituency.
So there's Karamat and Amin's Roti Shop, which are very popular. So I would say
which one better?
Those
You had
two.
to pick one.
Gosh, you're gonna put me.
Yeah.
All right. Karamat. They have a good piper roti. So, yeah.
Well played, sir. Well played. All right, let me see. One more question. Where is the community center in your constituency? Can you give me two of them?
Right. So we have the San Fernando North Community Center, which was recently, I think as soon as last year, opened, and that's on St. Vincent Street.
Right.
And we also have the Bamboo Keenan Community Center, and that's located in Bamboo, there close to Duncan Village.
Yeah, seems like you know your stuff. What about your favorite double spot in the area?
Well, Ali's is a very popular double spot.
You keep saying very popular. I don't want it to just be popular. I want it to be one that you like.
Yeah. So, okay, I have to be very honest.
That's what I want.
Very honest.
That's all I want.
I sometimes have to trek out of the constituency to the Green Shed in Baby.
Oh, my word.
Listen. But once you're from South, I mean, yeah, adopt that as your own.
Okay,
yeah, I'm getting some affirmations in
the
corner
there.
No,
it's fine. Because it's debate. You know what I mean? I understand where you're coming from. I understand
yeah.
All right, Nikolai, thank you very much for playing along.
For sure.
And for sharing your knowledge and your information, and all the best on August the 10th.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you just met the candidate Nikolai Jean-Paul Edwards, the leader of the Progressive Party and 2020 electoral candidate for the San Fernando West constituency. We'll be back after this short break.